Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in the world it is that you are. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayers Live. But I am simulcasting this on the IRL News Time channel because as I move forward, those of you who, for whatever reason, find me interesting, whether you like me or not, you can find me on the official Alexandra Mayers YouTube channel, just so you know. As I move forward, there's not really going to be that many live streams with video that I show, but I am going to do a sort of an audio only diary for some of you, especially women who might have an adventurous soul, such as myself, and who want travel tips. Travel tips. And I'm not talking about going super far into the unknown, even though that is something that I do tend to do. Sometimes I'm in the metropolis. Sometimes I'm in a city. Sometimes I'm in the suburbs. Sometimes I'm in the country. Sometimes I'm off grid. I'm all over the place. That's me. That's Alexandra Melody Makers. But tonight was kind of funny, and I wanted to share with some of you something that happened, and it's to me it's a testament that God does look out for his children. And a lot of times when you think that things are a problem, they're actually a blessing in disguise. All right. Well, just allow me to tell you what happened earlier today in my world. So, where I'm staying, I'm in a city. Okay. Some of you may think you know where I am, but you probably don't. I'm a little strategic when it comes to concealing my location. But where I am is definitely a hustling and bustling city. And I decided at this time that I wanted to be in the heart of all of it. So I selected the place where I wanted to be. Unbeknownst to me, parking is an issue. Parking is an issue. And I tend to deal with a certain level of anxiety. I get frustrated incredibly easily. So I arrived at my location at a time that I figured there would be an abundance of parking. Was there? Well, I didn't have to park very far from the unit, but it was kind of far. Not too far. Part of the reason why I'm always on myself about, oh, I have to lose weight, I have to stay fit, I have to stay thin, is because I actually do have to with the type of travel that I do. I probably do need to slow down a bit, being that I'm almost 45 years old. I tend to travel like somebody in their 20s or their 30s because, well, that's when I started really traveling. That's what I know. But sometimes you feel it when you got to go up 3 flights of steps, or if you got to walk for a few blocks until you get to your destination. You do feel it when you hit your 40s. You really do. But I'm happy that I at least get that kind of exercise because I think it does keep me young to an extent. So, anyway, where I'm staying right now. Earlier today, when I had a hard time finding some parking, um, there was a construction crew in front of the unit where I was. But here's something interesting that happened, and I believe that this was God intervening on my behalf. For the reason that might have been for the best reason, I don't know, but God was looking out for me today. So I was unloading some stuff, bringing my suitcase inside and whatnot. And one of the construction guys was like, "Oh, do you want me to help you?" And I thought to myself, "Wow, this is nice. Hardly anybody ever asked to help me." And I was like, "No, I'm okay. I got it." And he was like, "All right." And he was like, "Well, in the evening, because there's a lot of party spots around here, it's probably going to be hard for you to find a parking space. And I was like, oh no. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, but you know what? I'm going to be in this area. And you see this sawhorse over here. Doesn't it kind of look like a traffic barrier? And I thought to myself, yes, it does. And he's like, I'm going to leave this here. If you got to go somewhere later, even though it's a little bit heavy, you could strategically use this to hold your spot. And I thought, oh, but I said to him, I'm like, but I parked pretty far away from this building. And he was like, no. There's going to be spots over here later. So you see what I'm saying? Because he couldn't exactly legally tell me what I needed to do, but I got the gist of it. Of course, even though I'd gone to the grocery store earlier, guess what I ran out of tonight? Hard cider. Y'all know that's my drink of choice. And especially when I'm in a new place and I'm trying to acclimate and ground myself, I want some hard cider. Now, I already did my little live streams earlier, summarizing my thoughts of the evening, daily thoughts. And it's not going to be daily so much going forward, maybe every couple of days. But I felt like summarizing it. It makes me feel at home to be able to do a bit of an audio vlog or a video vlog, just to, if anything, for myself, record what's going on in my mind, what I'm noticing, how I'm feeling. It's not even so much the words I say, but I like to record myself because I do look back at myself years from now. And I remember the smells, I remember the feeling, the energy of wherever it is that I am. So anyway, that construction worker, he really helped me out. And he probably helped me out because when I was coming in, I had my grocery bags with me, aside from my suitcase. And he looked really thirsty. And I was like, hey, do you want some water? And he was like, for real? And I'm like, yeah, it's just water. Here's a couple bottles of water. And maybe that's why he helped me, because I wasn't even thinking about it. I just thought to myself, he looked really tired and he looked thirsty because he was sweating. So anyway, this evening, he was correct. I was on my way to my car and I looked up the street and I looked down the street, jam-packed. I was like, great. How am I going to get to the store and come back and have a parking space? But like that man promised, he left that barrier, that sawhorse, because they were doing construction. So I waited until nobody else was walking on the sidewalk because I didn't know if I was going to get in trouble doing this or not, So I just kind of waited, had a cigarette. I was like, hey, I'm chilling. I waited until there was nobody really in my vicinity. And then I just, picked up the sawhorse, and he was right. It was heavy. And I put it in the street where the car that I'm using would fit. So I went over to the car, jumped in the car, went to the store, came back. I thought somebody would have moved it. They didn't. So I rolled up, jumped out the car. Somebody did see what I was doing. He was like, that's a parking space? And I was like, not really. And he just looked at me, whoever this was in this car, and he was like, uh-huh. And I was like, it's a parking space for me. So everything worked out. I actually was able to park closer to the unit where I'm staying. And now I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this all the time. I'm just hopefully I don't have to really go many places over the next few days. But the car rental is small. It's a small car, so that helps, of course. Not every car could park in this particular small space, but didn't that work out? That was a very nice construction worker. I wish I could have given him more than water, but maybe the water was what he needed. I don't really know. I don't stay always in Airbnb. Sometimes I stay in other kinds of rentals too. There's VRBO. Sometimes I pet sit. I do a lot of things. You would be surprised, but I don't disclose everything about my life. I think it's actually funny that there's some people who are like, oh my God, she's always in an Airbnb. Well, I think a lot of people want to be in Airbnbs all the time, but that's not my case. The thing about me is that I am single. I have 0 children. I don't have a lot of the attachments that a lot of people have in life. I'm an extensive minimalist. And believe it or not, there are companies out there that seek out people like me who do rentals, and they give us special deals. I'd rather have almost nothing than a bunch of stuff at this time of my life. Why? Why should I? That's a good question. I mean, since I was about 18 years old, I had my own place. I moved out when I was around 18. I've had apartment after apartment, townhouse after townhouse. I lived in houses before. I almost purchased a piece of property at one point. If I did own a piece of property, I wouldn't even disclose it. But what I am going to say is that considering that I am not married, I am single, I have no children, I have no pets at this moment. I have had pets in the past, but I kind of like being able to go wherever I want to go and do whatever I want to do without restrictions. And my life is not for everybody. I'm kind of like a pirate. Ha 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 ha. Shiver me timbers. I'm sorry, I'm being silly. I'm being silly. But that's how I feel sometimes. And I won't always be this way, I'm certain, because like I said, I'm getting older. I feel the aches and the pains in my body. It's not bad because, I exercise and whatnot, but I don't feel like I did it when I was in my 20s. Not at all. Not at all. It's about the same, believe it or not. It's about the same. Because when you have a lease or something, you have to have furniture. You have to buy your own furniture, get all that kind of stuff. And I am somebody who enjoys change. I know not everybody likes change, but I've been on a bit of a journey of self-discovery for quite some time. And I haven't discovered everything that I need to discover within myself. Will I ever? I might not. I might not ever discover everything I need to discover, but I do feel like I need to discover a bit more. And I'd be a fool not to take advantage of this time of my life. I would be a fool. Absolutely, I would. So I'm doing it. And I will look back at this time of my life and I'll think to myself, all right, I figured myself out. I think I figured myself out to a much higher extent than most people have. To the ultimate, no. But to an extent, yes. It's pushed me to create a higher level of income than I would say most single women in their 40s, my age, who have my educational background, yes. But I like not having certain attachments. There have been times that I've been lonely and I think to myself, I want to be in a relationship, but then the opportunity presents itself and I realize it's not for me. Oh, there's another parking space. It just opened up. Um, Life's funny. But it's travel stories like that I would like to share more because when I think about it, there have been so many interesting things that have happened on my journey in life that I remember, but I didn't share in the moment. So I'm not going to share all of the things that happened in my life that I remember, but as things happen, I will share them. And if anyone's concerned about me monetarily, feel free to drop me a cash app. $ Alexandra Mayers. You can send me a cash app if you would like to send me a cash app. It would be much appreciated. You are not obligated in the least. No matter what, I'm going to share what I want to share and do what I want to do. But I thought that was a fun little anecdote to relate to some of you tonight. Did any of you find it interesting? It amazes me how many of you out there worry about my finances. You should. I think more people should contribute to me if they don't have anything else to do. Because I am quite the interesting individual. And I have come to realize over the past few years, I do provide a certain unique type of entertainment. I'm not for everybody at all. I'm for someone who's always been curious about the nondescript, cute black woman, middle aged, that they may see walking down the street from time to time. That's me. I'm literally your everyday African American woman. I know what I'm concerned about. I know what I'm not. I know my advantages in life. I know my disadvantages. I have walked on the wild side, without a doubt. But you know what I haven't done enough of? I haven't been a girl who's really had enough fun in a long time. And as long as I can, as long as I have the physical ability, I'm going to have more fun. Midlife crisis? Perhaps. I want to be like, it's going to sound crazy to you, but I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be a little bit like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I'm going to be, well, I'll be coal black. I'll be coal black and the Seven Midgets. I want to have friends along the way who help me. Maybe you're just in the chat. That's what I want my chat to be. Because I have observed very closely what other people's chats seem to be. And they're helpers. Sometimes they harm. But I want helpers in my chat. So if you want to help me be in my chat, let me know that you're team Alexandra. And let's do this. I think I've said this before, but I am saying it again. You know, I'm solo in this world. There's a little danger. I'm not overly afraid or anything. For the most part, I'm very blending in kind of person. I'm not overly noticeable unless I want to be. Well, Sharon, you're in the club. You're one of my chatters. I shouldn't have said snow. Shouldn't have said coal black and the seven midgets. That was horrible. That was a horrible thing for me to say, wasn't it? I have a weird sense of humor. I'm weird. I'm a weird person. But don't be jealous of my independence. I'm probably jealous of your unindependence, or if you have dependence. I've made it known what I'm jealous of in life. I think I'm done projecting my jealousy. And I'll bet you people who really like me, because I don't know who likes me really, but here's what I think. I think people who probably like me are people who have a totally different life from me. Like where I was before was more in the suburbs. This is city. I'm in the city now. And I needed to be in the city because I was in a funk over the past week, wasn't I? I was in such a funk in my journey of self discovery. It was, and I think that the reason I was in a funk was because I wasn't around enough people. Now I'm around enough people. Someone who just walked by, I saw him before. And I enjoy very much watching people and wondering about them. Sometimes I pick up a lot about people just from watching them. I'm really good at pegging a person's past just from looking at them. It's amazing. I should be able to do something with that, but I don't know how I could ever really do something with that unless I would be like, what, a profiler? I could be a profiler. I wouldn't want to be, though. I think that's too much being judgmental, and I need to be less that and just only judge me. But I like being back in the city. It's nice. Hey, how are you doing? Good. It's nice having people walk by and checking up and seeing how are you doing. It's very interesting because not everybody does. Not everybody does. And I'll tell you, as a single woman, if you're a traveler, your outfit should be nothing but tunics and leggings because it's minimalistic. Okay. Stick with neutral colors. If you want to have a color, let it be red or pink if you're female because it's feminine. But for the most part, nobody messes with you. At least when you're over the age of, I'd say 37. If you're really afraid, get yourself something that looks like an engagement ring or a wedding ring and wear it when you're out and about. Makes a big difference. I tend not to because I am older. I've noticed that people think I'm younger from the back. Maybe my face is getting older. I don't mind. But I've just noticed, wear your hair back. You don't have to be in full force with your beauty. Don't be doing the Kim Kardashian makeup, contouring, and all that kind of shit. Just be normal. And really, nobody's going to mess with you. It's very rare that anybody would. And if somebody does, for the most part, there's going to be another male who sees what's happening and they will put a stop to it. Stay where people see you and they notice that nothing is going on. Wear flat shoes for the most part. especially if you're on the taller end of being a female. I know that sounds weird, but these are things I've noticed being a solo, independent female traveler. Don't wear a lot of jewelry. Wear some jewelry, earrings at least. Reason being, because you look more put together and it looks like you belong to somebody. I think my sister actually knows that because she always gives me jewelry gifts. Because if I were to be found dead, they could probably identify me by the jewelry. That's a little bit of a macabre thought, but it's the truth. Try, regardless of your ethnicity, to be in places where there are people of your ethnicity to where you do fit in. That makes a big difference. And even if you're not, just be understated. Always maintain a regular remote job. That's important. Wherever you stay, make sure it's secure. Make sure that whoever it is that you're leasing from is aware that you are a single female who's traveling. And if you do all that, honestly, you will be just fine. That's my advice. But I encourage everyone to travel, get out and about, see what's out there in the world. Realistically, if my life had gone a different path, I would have settled down and I would have at least one child. But I don't think, for whatever reason, God foresaw that path for me, and I'm okay with that. Someone was saying that somebody's restreaming me. I don't mind, as long as they're not restreaming me with nefarious intention. That's all I can really ask for. So, if you want to join Club Alexandra, you can. It's a cool club. It's a cool club to be a part of. I think it's awesome. So take care. Have a great night. I'll share other solo woman traveling adventures as they happen. Bye. Bye 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 bye. Bye bye bye. Bye 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 bye.